So how does aggregate demand curve looks in liquidity trap situation? So first of all, look at when we do not have the liquidity trap situation, what happens? Supposedly, in case of the output falls below the natural level of output, right? Uh, so if the output is below natural level of output means what? Your demand is lesser. If demand is going to be less, it means that prices are going to fall. If prices are going to fall, then it means M by P is going to increase. No, M by P is going to increase. Just imagine your ISLM. If M by P is going to increase, what is going to happen? Your rate of interest is going to fall. No, rate of interest is going to fall. When rate of interest is going to fall, then investment spending is going to increase. With an increase in investment spending, what is going to happen? Output is going to increase, demand is going to increase. Y is equal to C plus I plus G is there. So if I is going to increase, Y is going to increase. And this process is going to go on till the output is again back at the natural level of output. So output which was lesser than the natural level of output, it will tend towards the output, it will tend towards the natural level of output, right? This process is going to go on till that particular point. And how do you get to the natural level of output? You can use monetary policy or you can use fiscal policy. In both the cases, you have to increase demand. Nah? So you can increase demand by increase in G. You can increase demand by increase in or by decrease in taxes, right? So those are fiscal policies. You can also affect demand indirectly through monetary policy. So if money supply is going to increase, M by P is going to increase. If M by P is going to increase, your interest rate is going to fall. Interest rate is going to fall. So again, the same process will go on. Your Y is going to increase. This is there. So this was simple enough. This was just your, when the situation was not in liquidity trap. And you know that your demand is the function of what? Monetary policy variables and fiscal policy variables. So monetary policy variable is your real money supply. Fiscal policy variables are G and D. This is there. Okay. In the presence of liquidity trap, what happens? Interest rate is zero or very, very near to zero. Right? Okay. You know this now. M by P can increase in two ways. Either you increase numerator, which is money supply, and increase in M, or you decrease denominator, which is price level. Interest rate is very near to zero. M by P can increase by increasing the nominal money supply or by decreasing the prices, right? You increase money supply. You increase real money supply. Interest rate is already zero. Do you think it is going to decrease? It is going to affect the interest rate? No, it will have no effect on interest rate, which remains equal to zero. M by P has increased, but it will not affect the interest rate. It is going to remain zero only. Zero or near to zero, whatever minimum is there. So don't you think that the monetary policy is not affecting aggregate demand? हमने यहाँ पे, this is what we have said ना, that you can increase aggregate demand by using monetary policy also. But if, and how is aggregate demand going to be affected? Due to the changes in interest rate. So if interest rate is going to fall, investment spending is going to increase, and your output is going to increase. But here interest rate is not changing. So why will investment change? So why will output change? So monetary policy is not affecting the aggregate demand. Neither it is, but the adjustment mechanism, which is also helping the output to return to the natural level of output, that is also not going to work. So you just think about it. Prices fall. M by P increases. Means higher real money stock. But अगर higher real money stock है भी तो भी your output is not increasing. Because of higher real money stock, people are not demanding more. I mean, aggregate demand is not going to increase. Why? Because higher real money stock should be affecting interest rate first, and then it should affect the output. But यहाँ पे तो ऐसा कुछ नहीं हो रहा, right? It doesn't lead to higher spending. It doesn't lead to higher spending. So in liquidity trap, your AD looks like this. It is dependent upon GNT only, not on M by P, because M by P is not affecting aggregate demand. So AD doesn't depend upon real money stock. So if you are given with the values of GNT, AD is not going to affect the aggregate, sorry. AD is not affected by the real money supply. And if it is not affected by the real money supply, to beta, it is not dependent upon the price level also. That is the main thing. By AD is drawn in out price and output space, right? अगर M by P के चेंज की वजह से एग्रीगेट डिमांड में कोई चेंज नहीं हो रहा, तो इसका तो यही मतलब है, द मीनिंग विच यू आर गेटिंग इज even if the price level is falling, M by P increasing, but it is not affecting the aggregate demand. No. So for a given values of GNT, AD doesn't depend upon real money stock. Do you see M by P here? Why we have not written M by P? Because M by P is not affecting aggregate demand. So if M by P is not affecting aggregate demand, it means if the price is whether it is increasing or decreasing, it is not affecting the aggregate demand. So increase or decrease in price is not going to affect aggregate demand. Aggregate demand curve is going to be vertical. That is the main point. Aggregate demand curve is going to be vertical in this particular case. So we can assume this, that initially, let's say, equilibrium is at point A where output is below the natural level of output. So when output is low, economy is already there in the liquid, and economy is there in the liquidity trap. Because output is low, aggregate supply curve is going to shift downwards. Why? Why do you think aggregate supply curve is going to shift downwards? Because low output means what? Higher unemployment. Higher unemployment means what? Wages are going to be low, right? And if the wages are going to be low, cost of production is low. If cost of production is low, it means prices are low. No? So economy moves to this. So prices are falling. They will further fall. But this gap is still there. Huh? This gap is still there. So price level, it keeps on decreasing. But do you think output is increasing? So this gives rise to something, what do you have is the aggregate demand curve, which is vertical. It is not dependent upon the price level in case of liquidity trap. So this is the meaning of AD being vertical in liquidity trap, right? I hope it was of some use to you. Thank you, Beta.